We're at the end of the high school season, and one of the highlights of the high school season for me is the awarding of the Bruce MacDonald High School Athlete of the Year Award. Most of the time I've done this, by email or posting something online. A couple of years ago, I did a little video where I announced the names. And this year I decided that, it might be better to bring the athletes in and kind of surprise them with the award. So that's what we're looking to do here. Originally, it was supposed to be both athletes at the same time. But things happen, life gets in the way. So what we ended up doing is having interviews with both athletes independently, and it looks like it's going to be over 2 different days as well. But we want to see how this all turns out, and explaining the wonderful years that both of our winners have had, explain to them the significance of the award and the history behind the award as well. And so we're going to do that in a couple of parts, put it all together and see how it works. And we appreciate everyone coming in to watch what we do here. And if you can spend the time and watch both parts of this video all together as one, we'd really appreciate it. Please leave some comments and kind words to the athletes in the comment section below. And we appreciate your support in subscribing and watching the content. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of the video. Hey, thanks everybody for coming back and joining us today. Today's episode is a little different than things that we've done recently. Right now I have Clayton Stoil with me, and soon I'll be joined by Heather Durant. We are hoping to get them together at the same time, but it looks like we're going to have to do things a little separately. So we'll have them individually. But the idea of this video that we're doing is to release the information for the 23rd annual Bruce MacDonald Athlete of the Year Award. And I don't know if Clayton figured it out before he got here that this is what we were doing. And, I had thrown a couple of hints out there, but I won't start off by saying congratulations. You are the high school male athlete of the year for race walking. It's a pretty select group. We've had a couple repeat winners, back-to-back type of things a couple of times. But you are also the only athlete, male or female, from the state of Virginia to ever win this award. So it's, that's a double honor in your regard, because Virginia's had some good walkers over the years. Many of them were prior to, this little endeavor. But a little background on the award. It's named for a man named Bruce MacDonald, who is responsible for race walking being in high school at all. He was the national chairperson for USATF and the AAU for many years, and was a high school coach in New York. And also as an athlete and a coach, he was a 3-time Olympic athlete, and 2 times he was an Olympic coach. And he was very involved in youth development, and saw that it was important for the youth to be involved in race walking early so that they developed the skills to become elites. And he got it into the New York high school program, and Maine followed his example and got that in there. And a lot of the Junior Olympic stuff happened as a result of him as well. Out of the 23 years that we've been doing this and giving this award out, only one athlete has not represented Team USA at some level, and that was only because she was a citizen of New Zealand. She was here in the United States for high school because one of her parents was in the US military and was stationed here. But she was not eligible to compete for Team USA. So how are you feeling about this at this point, Clayton?
Well, I didn't know about it coming in. I didn't put the clues together, so I'm surprised to say the least, but I'm also pretty happy knowing that I got this.
Congratulations. It was a going into the year, I always have a an idea of who I think might win, and I thought that you were just starting off the year that it was likely going to be you. And then you had a really hard push from Rowan in the middle of the year where he was giving you quite a bit of fits towards the middle of the season, and it made it more difficult than I thought it was going to be to make a decision. And one of the things that goes into the selection process is the end of season championship meets. They weigh heavily, and the way that you excelled in those end of season meets, that pretty much clinched it for you. The doing so well at both under 20 meets was really impressive. How you responded to some mid-season, tough results. You raced well, and he raced well as well. I'm not even sure if that's a sentence, but so just to give our viewers some of an understanding of just the amazing year that you've had, I'm just going to go over some stats so that they're aware of the level of performance that you put forth during this year. During the indoor season, you were first in the Adidas High School Championships, the Nike High School Championships, and the Virginia Showcase. And you were the fourth place finisher in the Millrose Games, which was the U.S. Indoor Mile Championship against the pro athletes, and you were the top high school finisher. And we go to the outdoor season, you were first at Nike Nationals, first at USATF's Junior Olympics and USATF Youth Championships. You were second in the New Balance Nationals, so you got medals for all three shoe companies. Did you get shoes with them as well? What kind of awards did they give you?
So Nike this year gave us like a necklace and like a medallion.
Cool.
Uh, New Balance, you just got a medal, but for first they give you a speaker.
Oh, okay.
And
One of the
and
Bluetooth
for
things.
yeah, and for Adidas, I don't remember. I think they gave us something, but I can't remember at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And so after the New Balance, the second at New Balance, you were also second overall in the USATF under 20 meet, but the top high school finisher. At the Penn Relays, you were third overall and the second high school finisher. And then now was the Pan Am under 20, that was your first Team USA event, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And there you were seventh overall, if I'm remembering correctly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was like racing in a steam room. Um,
It was bad. It
yeah.
was pretty bad.
So, I mean, just the performance wise, for the top results, just amazing results across the board. You only lost to a high school athlete twice all year, and then everybody else who beat you in the U.S. was in college or was a pro, and their credentials are, speak for themselves as well. I mean, one of the people who beat you a couple times during the year was last year's winner. So you're in good company. And a little bit more in the way of stats. We're looking at the performance lists for the 2022-23 indoor season and the 23 outdoor season. At 1,500, the mile, and 3,000 meters, you were the U.S. number one. And going to outdoors at 1,500, the mile, and 5,000, you were the U.S. number two. And at 3,000 and 10,000, you were U.S. number one. I'll send this all to you so you have it and you can write it all. You can put it on your profile. Additionally, and I think I might have mentioned this to you or in previous posts, but there are 8 possible high school records that someone could have as a high school, as a race walker for the distances that are tracked. You own 7 of them, indoors and outdoors. The only one you don't have is the 5,000 meter outdoor record, and you're not that far off of it. I think it's 21 seconds or something like that.
Oh, I just did that as my split. I went like almost, I think I went sub 23 for my 5K split.
Which five was it an official split?
It was at
Was it at
it was just
U20?
at Pan Americans, so I don't think it's official, but like
Yeah,
I did
it's
it.
got to be one of those things that where like we get it as the official split. So I know you're
Uh,
more than capable of hitting that time. Um,
yeah,
but I mean, 7 out of 8, that's not bad. That's a pretty darn good career, is to own 7 out of the 8 high school records. And then kind of rolling into where you stand in all-time performance lists. The indoor 1500 meters, you're number 9 all time. The indoor 3000 meters, you're number 14 all time. And the outdoor 3000 meters, you are number 21 all time. So very impressive. I know I've thrown you kind of, kind of this out of left field. What are your thoughts?
I mean, like I wasn't trying to go for the records per se because like you can look them up, but like I was just trying to get a better time with competition more so than trying to set records because I view it as more of you practice more, you get faster, and it'll prepare you for the longer distances. So like that's just how I approached it.
Yeah, and everyone's got their own way of getting their mind in the right place to be successful and to make the process easier for them. Some people are time oriented, other people are place oriented, and still others are like, I just want to get out and compete, and all of those other things take care of themselves. I go out and I race, and I don't even wear a watch, and different things work for different people. So what's up next for you? I mean, I know, but if you want to tell everybody else, what's next on your plate?
So since my season's now over for high school, after I'll wait continue training college and all that, but the goal is the trials for the 24 Olympics. I'm content that I'm not going to make the Olympic team. No aspirations to do so because it belongs to other people for now. However, like it's a good place to get my feet wet to like anticipate what that process is going to be like for 28 and 32.
Mm-hmm. Very good plan. The number of times where I've seen beginner, and I use that word loosely, but beginners at the 20K um, tend to overdo it sometimes in their first one or their first 2 or 3, and especially at a big meet like the Olympic trials, where the emotions and the stress get to you, and just going in there and saying, I'm gonna finish today. I'm gonna give my best, and no expectations, and learn something, and come back in 4 years and figure this out. And not everybody gets out of the blocks per se, like a Dan Neneva did in his first couple 20Ks, where he's only done a handful of them and is right up there with the top in the world, and not everyone has that early success. Um, he is also a bit of a more mature athlete physically. He's a little bit older, so it makes it a little easier. But that's a really good mindset, and wishing you all the luck in the world with that.
Yep. Thank you. And I don't intend for the trials to be my first 20K. Like I think there's one up in like New Jersey I'll do just to get my like anticipate it because going to the trials and doing it as your first race is just it's not optimal.
Yeah, you would definitely want to get your feet wet a couple of months ahead of time, and this way you can recover and you know have an understanding of any mistakes you might make that first time out, and say, oh well, okay, I can make this better. This went well, and these are some things that I can take back into my training and my racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Is there anything else that you have for the viewers? Any
Um,
pearls of wisdom that you would like to share with people who are some of the younger race walkers about how you became successful and the steps that it took to get you where you are.
I would say primarily what I did is I didn't necessarily train only race walking in high school. I did a lot of like endurance training, like I did cross country and distance track. Like I more so trained for like a longer distance and did like race walk form on the side. Because in my opinion, you don't need to primarily be training only one thing. It's good to have a little cross just so this way you can be prepared for like a 3K or a 5K in high school, which you don't normally do during track season.
Mm-hmm. And you also don't normally run a half marathon before an indoor championship. But
Yeah, they wouldn't let me refund it, so I just kind of had to do it.
I mean, it worked out okay for you. You
It
still had a decent
it
race.
it worked out fine. It was an okay race. It was like 650 or something, or like it was something high, but it hurt. I
Yeah,
did it.
was that the showcase meet?
No, that was Adidas
That was
Nationals.
Adidas indoors. Okay, it's same facility, just different meet.
Yeah, yep.
Hmm.
A little later in the year, end of season.
Yeah, well, I remember seeing that interview and going, okay,
Yeah.
he's a special breed. He's willing to do some things that are a little different. And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Uh, yeah, I was gonna go down to Florida and do it, but then that hurricane came through like in the fall and they had to move it. So
Hmm.
I had to like double and I wasn't planning on doubling because they wouldn't give me a refund. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. Uh, yeah, like let's just try this.
Very nice. And one other thing that, unless they're, people are into like looking up athletes on mile split and everything, and that's kind of what I do. Um, a lot of people don't know or they're not aware that you're also a pretty darn good pole vaulter.
I dabble. I dabble quite a bit. My coach threw me in events just so we could score points, and it just kind of works out. Race walk has calf strength. Pole vault needs calf strength.
Upper
Need
body
a little
strength
more upper
too.
body for race walk. Like
Yeah,
it worked out very nicely. I scored points.
exactly. And that's kind of like, one of the things that I try to pass along to coaches is, if you got kids who are not scoring points for you in one event, there's other events, introduce them to every event. You may find out that, oh, I didn't realize the ninth kid on my cross country team could triple jump. It's, and I
Exact.
in my high school coaching time, I've taken kids and done things like that with them. Like we can find another spot for you over here doing this crazy little thing, and it turns out really good for them. They end up making conference meets, they set school records, and it was the last place you ever expected them to be.
Yeah, and it works out almost every time.
Great. So let's go ahead and wrap this section of it up. I want to again congratulate you, Clayton, on winning the Bruce MacDonald Athlete of the Year award. And I look forward to seeing you, at lots of top level events, and hopefully some of them that I can get to, and we'll continue our conversation there.
Oh, yeah, of course. And if you ever need anything else, just let any of us know.
All right, great. No, thank you very much.
Yep. Nice meeting you
All right.
again.
Okay.